What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here in defeat because look at Emmanuel Acho.
You're already accepting defeat?
Hell yeah. You are on one today. You feeling yourself, huh?
I did 100 push-ups right before I came on air to make sure this turtleneck looks tighter. So,
well,
you know, what can I say?
Tripod? You hit tries on him? Hit him, big dog. All right, well, we're just a few days away from the Super Bowl, so let's get it started. Tom Brady gets most of the headlines, but the Bucs defense has shown up big time in the playoffs. They picked off Drew Brees 3 times and had an interception and 5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. Next up, Patrick Mahomes, who has 5 total touchdowns with no interceptions in his last 2 games. So, Acho, do you expect the Bucs defense to slow down Patrick Mahomes?
At times, yes, they will. At times, yes, they can. In totality, not at all.
Wow.
Right, like the Bucs defense, I'm going to give them their respect. I think they're the number 6 total defense in the NFL, at least 6 in scoring defense. They're top 10, that's without a doubt.
Respect.
So at times, they're going to do their thing, Sel. But the problem is, it's not about what you do at times. It's about what you do in totality. 14 drives Patrick Mahomes has played in the playoffs. 14 drives. 11 of them he has scored on. One time they kicked a field goal. One time he took a knee. The other time they had to punt the ball. Why did they punt the ball? Tyreek Hill dropped a pass.
Come on,
so nobody stopped the Chiefs except themselves. Nobody stopped the Chiefs except already winning the game, so taking a knee, and you see the drop right there. Otherwise, that's another score on another possession. 14 possessions, 11 scores. So it's not that I don't believe in the Bucs defense, because I do. I believe in Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. When my brother was there, I know that defense closely. However, you can't stop this team. You can only hope to contain them.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
That's it? Oh. This is one of those, I walk on the field, I have on the Chiefs uniform, it says Mahomes on the back. Points. It doesn't work that way. You just told me.
What I tell you?
You just told me that in 14 drives, and as you know how you like to talk, you repeat it. In 14 drives, the Chiefs scored in 11 of them,
11 of them, sir.
How many against the Bucs in those 14 drives? To our question right now. Yeah, I expect the Bucs defense to slow these boys down. One, they ain't faced this defense in the postseason. It's a different defense, even though it was great all year. Let me hone in on why I think they could slow them down. We know about Patrick Mahomes and his greatness.
We absolutely do.
This job sometimes, man, somebody tunes in just a little bit too late, thinks you're taking shots. No shots at Patrick Mahomes. No shots. However, he's going to take some shots. Let's talk about the Buccaneers defense that led the NFL in quarterback pressures and takeaways this season. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes, who struggled in his 3 worst games this season by passer rating. Patrick Mahomes was pressured by those defenses. Let's talk about him getting pressured 16 times in the game against the Chargers, and that was an overtime game. Barely they won. Let's talk about the Raiders game when they got him 17 times in that game. They lost that game. Patrick Mahomes, 51% in completion percentage, 83 passer rating. All I'm saying is there is a formula to slow down this Chiefs offense, and it just so happens to fit right in perfectly with the piece of the Bucs defense. They get after you up front. Have you been looking at the offensive line of the Chiefs over the season? The injuries, right?
Schwartz starts hurt now. Eric Fisher hurt. People hurt.
I love you.
People hurt.
We walked into that Green Bay game, and they had injuries up front as well. How many sacks? How did that look? Saints game, Packers game, 2 top 5 scoring offenses, both held under 27 points. And the Bucs had to go on the road to do this against top 5 offenses. Once again, they see another one, but this time they're playing at home. I'm just saying, there is a Tetris. There is a building block. These pieces fit together. Mahomes, you're tremendous. You're great, except when you get pressured. Oh, you have issues up front. That means you're susceptible to being pressured. That's why the Bucs defense will slow them down.
I like that take.
You like that take?
That takes
That
smell.
take.
That takes
What's wrong with
smell.
that take?
So let's put this whole situation in its proper context.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is not Taylor Heineke. Let's put this situation in its proper context. Patrick Mahomes is not a declining, aging, decrepit Drew Brees.
Wow, now that's shots.
That's not shots. That's
not shots?
shots.
Shut us.
Let's put this situation in its proper context.
Okay.
The Green Bay Packers were a 4th and 8 from either winning that game or putting up 30, even if they lose. Packers still put up 26.
Ain't enough.
So,
Ain't enough.
you say, are the Bucs going to stop the Chiefs? I don't know. I'm sure there are some formulas to cure some of the terminal diseases that currently exist in our society.
Oh, here you go.
We just haven't figured them out yet. So I'm not saying there's not a formula to stop the Chiefs. I'm just saying whatever the formula is, the scientists of the Buccaneers, Todd Bowles, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, Carlton Davis, they just haven't figured it out yet. So that is the problem that you're making. Marcellus, let me give it to you like this.
Please give
Patrick
it to me.
Mahomes, since 2019, he's been trailing by double digits in 9 games. He's won 8 of them.
Okay.
So even if you got the Chiefs stopped, you ain't really got them boys stopped. So I don't know how, because in America, and right now, you know, I live Beverly Hills adjacent. I don't live in Beverly Hills.
Why you even bring up Beverly Hills?
Adjacent.
You also live hood adjacent, then, if you want to bring up areas you don't live in.
I live Beverly Hills. I live in a nice place.
You live in Beverly Hills Post Office.
I live in a nice place.
You one of them dudes that, hey, what's your address? And it's some place, a building with 1,000 other
I
people.
give him a P.O. box. You ain't gonna know where I stay.
I know.
Look, the point is I live somewhere nice.
Fake.
But still, I done told you, your boy go to Nigeria every summer, right? When I go to Nigeria, I be in the villages in Nigeria.
It ain't nice over there?
No. Not in the villages.
All of it?
The villages. Lagos is nice now.
Okay.
But the villages, they a little different. See, the cockroaches in Nigeria they're a little different than them roaches that you see in America. Even roaches
New Orleans?
Look. Why? Because
Okay.
you think you got them joints killed.
What they do?
But you don't.
They got homies?
They can still be doing this.
So silly.
And the thing is, like,
This is your take?
think about this. That's my take.
About
Because
roaches?
the Texans, 24-0, they would have thought they had the Chiefs offense killed, right?
Can't talk.
Tennessee Titans, 17-7, they would have thought they had the Chiefs offense killed, right? San Francisco 49ers, 20-10. I believe it was 20-10, and maybe the late third, early fourth. You would have thought you had the Chiefs killed, right? But the Chiefs like them Nigerian roaches. They don't die. So the Bucs, they might stop them for a moment.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop them forever.
You know what? You lost me there, even though I wanted to be found.
You know about the roaches?
Not anymore, but certainly not Nigerian
too much
roaches.
money. That's the problem.
What are you doing, a 23andMe on roaches in America? Like, I don't know where they from, but how you gonna go there? Here's the thing. This is where you lost me. I'm stupid, I know. I've seen the Bucs defense. I've seen the Chiefs offense. I've not seen Nigerian roaches, so I'm sorry. Go wherever you want to go with that and then come back to America with our little roaches. Let's be real about this.
Let's be real, please.
This is simply about a defense that's going to attack, that's going to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about the defenders. Let's talk about Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul.
Cold.
Huh? Cold? How about over the last 2 seasons, including the playoffs, nobody's been colder than them in terms of getting sacks on the quarterback. No one has more sacks as a duo than those two. You want to talk about who's going to play cold or at least colder? Patrick Mahomes. How did Patrick Mahomes play in the Super Bowl last year? You remember? 78 passer rating. You remember? No more touchdowns than interceptions. You remember? That was the number 2 defense in San Francisco. Do you remember? He was outplayed for 3 quarters by the opposing quarterback. Trade block, Jimmy G. Okay, now let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. He's matured, he's evolved, he's grown, he's better equipped for this moment this year. But here's the problem. Let's talk about this year and his career as a starter, including the playoffs. In the wins, 9 pressures a game, under 10. In the losses, 14. I just gave you numbers about the sack duo in Tampa Bay. I also gave you numbers on the pressures, number 1 in the NFL. Takeaways, number 1 in the NFL. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes again. Sacks per game, 1.5. 2.5 when he loses. You think let's go to Vegas. You think that the Bucs going to get over under 2.5 sacks? Yeah, I thought so. Over. All right, turnovers per game, only half in his career when he wins. Over 1 when he loses. You think the Bucs are going to force 1 turnover or 2 or 3? I think they are. He had 2 in the game last year in the Super Bowl against comparable defense, if not worse defense, because they didn't have the sack monsters up front in duo. Name another.
I was about to say.
Boy, I know Bosa. Don't you do that to Bosa. I said Bosa and.
What about Bosa? What about Ford? What about Buckner?
Yeah, add them all up and get this. Number one in the last 2 years, this duo right here. Point being, I love Patrick Mahomes. I love this defense. But being on a former number one overall defense, you said it in your first lap. There are going to be moments. But those moments can lead to tragedy because the same way you see a Bucs defense get to the quarterback, they can cause that turnover. That could be that 14-point swing that can give them this ball game.
I mean, Shaq Barrett and JPP were there in the first matchup, and I saw how that turned out. But I digress. Because I take issue with what you said, Marcellus. You're too smart to not know the difference between singular and plural.
What, roach and roach is?
Yeah, exactly. But lose and lose is. Because you said in Patrick Mahomes' losses, you said
Career.
Dude lost one game this season.
Okay.
It is loss.
Oh, you want to go career losses, which I said also?
Loss.
Who has he lost to in his career in the postseason already? He only has one loss. I wonder who that's to. Tom Brady. And you know he always comes with a defense.
You do.
No matter where Brady goes, people talk about state income tax and who's the coach. Nah, where the defense at? That's where Tom Brady's going.
You go with the defense. Speaking of defense, and ride with me because you know about defense better than just about anybody in the country. When you're playing defense, you stop an offense like this. Your coach will tell you, do not give up the big play.
Yes.
Because if you give up the big play, that's how offenses score. Make them be methodical and march the ball down the field. Eventually, they'll get a false start, a holding penalty. They'll mess up. Here's the problem. The Chiefs, second in the NFL in average scoring drive. Chiefs scoring drives, Marcellus, 70 yards. Like, we think about the Chiefs as far as they get the most big plays. They are second in the NFL in getting big plays. But even if you do your job as a defense, you've been in the locker rooms, I've been in the locker rooms, you've been in the meeting rooms, I've been in the meeting rooms. Even if you execute your job perfectly, make them march down the field methodically and beat us, they can't do it. The problem is the Chiefs can. The problem is the Chiefs have 34. The Chiefs average 34 points per game in the playoffs in Mahomes' playoff games. So
I like that.
I just don't know how you're going to. You're almost grasping at straws. Like you're not grasping at straws. I'm not going to disrespect you. You're grasping at hope. And I'd rather grasp at evidence and facts and empirical data than grasp at hope.
Here we go. You made some sense there. Now I think we are going to be on the same side. Even if we disagree, we're at least going to respect each other's sides and opinions on this. A lot of people go into a game against the Chiefs, and the first thing you think about is like that offense. And then you try to match their offense, then you realize you don't have the weapons, you don't have the scheme, you don't have it all. You just can't. So then you start looking at your defense. Can we do this? And in summation, what happens is you come to a mindset that, you know what, we got to keep the ball away from them. Now, I point to the Carolina game, if people remember when they played Carolina. Carolina came up short, like 15 yards short of that field goal chance to actually have that ball game. But they kept the ball 38 minutes and still came up short. So time of possession is not just a true indicator against the Chiefs, as you even said. Pin them back, what you said. Hey, man, 70 yards. It don't matter where they get the ball. Couple plays, they on your side of the field. That's not it. You know what I read? A tremendous article breaking it down. You know I love me some analytics. Anytime I get the calculator out, I start smiling. First downs. I never thought about this. Coaches always preach to us on defense, hey, man, no team can drive the ball, move the chains methodically down the field all the time on us. But the only way to beat the Chiefs is truly by the first downs. Listen to this. In the Chargers' overtime loss, they had 28 first downs. And the Panthers' close one, they had 30 in that game. And then the Raiders, they had 22. And when you start to look at that, you start to realize all we need to do is go first down, second down, third down, reset.
First down.
First down. Because then it's not only just time of possession. I think that's too exclusive, too explicit. It's just the fact that now you're starting to have the fatigue. You're starting to have the war of attrition to turn in your favor. I just saw a common denominator in the number of first downs in their tightest games. The Raiders game, the Chargers game, and that Carolina game. I won't even count the Tampa Bay game, the first one, because they were really down 14 points into the end. Then they got those 2 touchdowns and made it closer. The point is, methodically beat them. Who is the most methodical quarterback you could ever think of?
Of course.
Tom Brady.
Yes, sir.
Who can master not only the deep ball as he has this year, but the dink and dunk game? So if Tom Brady is able to merge his styles of the dink and dunk of 20 years and risk it for a biscuit for 1 year, I think they got some money.
But let's put the viewer in the mind of the athlete. Because, Sal, what you and I both love about track and field is oftentimes in sports like that, you can run your own race. Ain't nobody else in your lane.
Nobody.
Nobody's in your lane. Run your own race. But here is the problem. In other sports, just like in track and field, oftentimes you start to peer a little bit like, uh-oh, what's going on to my right? What's going on to my left? And that starts to affect you. If we're being real, playing in the game of football, I've been in this position on defense. I know you have as well. You start to look up. Tom Brady will look up. Dang, Tyreek Hill just caught a 75-yard touchdown pass. We're down 7-0. Okay, we just got 3. We're only down 7-3. Let's keep it up, boys. Keep it up. Travis Kelce, 26-yard touchdown, 14-3. Okay, it's only 14-3. Let's keep it up. 14-6. Mecole Hardman, 15-yard reverse. It's 21-6. Hey, we got to make a big play here. Tom Brady, we got to make a big play here. And then Tom Brady goes out there trying to do too much, and maybe it's not Brady. Maybe Bruce Arians calls an all-go special, just 4 verticals, or 3 on one side, and it ends up being 4 verticals, and just like that pick. And that's how it begins to unravel. So I like the thought process.
Yeah, that's the only way you could do it.
I like the mindset of it, but executing that is so much easier. Just like when somebody before a huge race says, hey, just run your own race. Yeah, sound good. Until I get there and I see everybody else past me. Now all of a sudden I start tightening up.
Here we go. It's one thing, and you've been there 1,000 times. I'm ready to execute. And you always anticipate the fullness from that opponent. You expect them to come at you 110%. But what if they're off their game? What if this is just another one-off or an anomaly? I'm talking about this right here. What if Patrick Mahomes is just not going to play well in the Super Bowl again? Think about it. Patrick Mahomes, in all of his playoff games, 116 passer rating, 15 touchdowns, no interceptions. 6-1 record. Let's talk about that one.
Please, let's talk about it.
2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 78 rating. I know you're in a race against Patrick Mahomes. You got your spikes tied up extra tight. But what if his are a little loose? What if this is not just a one-off? What if this is starting a pattern of Patrick Mahomes? You're going against the best competition. It's the Super Bowl. And what if he gives us another subpar performance? Then it's not about what they're doing as much as what you can capitalize on.
I like that, but then this show we got layers for y'all. Because now you have to talk about the economy. And I mean the Super Bowl economy. Because if Patrick Mahomes plays poorly in the Super Bowl, but Tom Brady plays worse, then does it matter? Remember, Super Bowl New England.
Wait a minute.
Let's rock. Okay. Let's wrap. Super Bowl New England Patriots versus Philadelphia Eagles. Tom Brady set a Super Bowl record passing yards in that game. But the problem was it didn't matter because Nick Foles balled too. And so Tom Brady's greatness was great and all, but it was just exceeded by somebody else's. We can say Patrick Mahomes played bad in last year's Super Bowl. You want to know who played worse? Jimmy Garoppolo. And so if you're telling me Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle, I'm just talking about the Super Bowl economy. Does it matter if it's a deflated economy? Because if Patrick Mahomes struggles, as long as Brady struggles more, then it don't matter.
Yeah, but that's the key word. That's the key phrasing. If Tom Brady struggles. When you're in your 10th Super Bowl, I don't think the moment's too big for you. Don't think it's too big for you either, Patrick Mahomes, but it's up to you to prove different. Coming up at the top of the hour, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are their team superheroes, but we'll pick their top Super Bowl sidekicks. That's gonna be fun. But first, Brady is already saying he'll be better next year. Oh my goodness. We'll tell you if this is his best chance at a 7th ring. Next, speak for yourself. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites against the Buccaneers, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Tom Brady led Tampa to the Super Bowl in his first season, but it seems like he's already looking ahead to next year as well. Y'all take a listen.
I think next year is going to be a lot better than this year. You know, I feel like I'll be in a much better place mentally. I'm going to train a lot better this year. Physically, next year I'll be in a better place. So I know as soon as this game ends, we're on the next season.
So, Sal, is this Tom Brady's best chance of winning his 7th ring?
No, this is not his best chance at it. It's his next chance to win it, but it's not his best chance. And let's clarify. Next year is this year for everybody out there in terms of preparation, in terms of performance, in terms of playing. September is this year, y'all. I understand what y'all saying. You're talking about next season. I get it. But look, Tom Brady, man, this dude. My coach used to always tell us, know your next now. And I'll be like, damn, coach, what you talking about? And he would say in life in general, like, oh, you want to be a broadcaster? Well, during the summer, you know what you need to be doing? Some broadcasting instead of just waiting till you retire. Oh, I got all this money. I'm fat and out of shape. Nobody wants me to play.
Is that applicable to relationships? Know your next now.
Well, we all do, if you really want to go there. But I do not want to out you right now. And all these numbers, I got a text right now about you. Here's the thing. You look good in that turtleneck, whatever. Let's talk about this situation where Brady's talking about. Let's just fast forward. Let's say this game it's Monday and we're on the show. Look at the team that he had this year and how he was able to acquire the talent on this team. I'm not talking about the built-ins. I'm talking about the guys that jumped ship, that came there because Tom Brady was in the building. Let's just say not everybody was in the prime shape, prime condition for this moment. More castaways than actual guys that you would look to acquire. More guys with names than maybe game at that moment. Let's talk about Gronk. He was doing what we were doing. He was wrestling. I mean, this dude was all over. And then he decided to put the cleats back on. I think Gronk, if he comes back next year, will be better next year than this year. Let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. Okay, let's move on. The point is, I don't know, but the point is he could be better next year, I hope. AB, the knee is giving him issues in part because he had a year layoff. Next year, you get this continuity. I think he'll be better even next year. Let's talk about Leonard Fournette. Now, he had to learn a new system like Tom Brady, mid-year, whatever it may be, because of him being cut and then coming to this team. He may be better next year. I would bet he will be even better next year. Point is, if you look all around there and then focus in on Tom Brady, he's looked even better the latter part of this season than he did in the beginning of the season. Let's look at the numbers. First 12 games, 7-5. Last 7 games, 7-0. Hasn't lost a game. Points per game is up. Yards per game up. Touchdown interception ratio better. And more importantly, the passer rating went from 95 to 111. Tom Brady is evolving in this system. Others will evolve in this system. So, yeah, this is his next opportunity for 7, but it may be even greater and better next year.
I respect that. You said Le'Veon Bell. I think you meant Ronald Jones. You know, Le'Veon Bell with the Chiefs, big dog. He ain't doing nothing there either. He ain't doing nothing there.
No.
He ain't making no noise. Or LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn ain't doing nothing either.
That's
LaShawn might be done either way.
No wonder I ain't say much on him.
It is Tom Brady's best chance.
Yeah.
And it's Tom Brady's best chance in part because of what you said. He's there. Right. Like, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady makes it look easy, but nonetheless, clearly it's very difficult. I think about it in so many different fashions, but the Bucs caught some breaks.
Who doesn't?
Of course, but the Bucs got Alex Smith, 4-1. The Washington football team is with Alex Smith at the quarterback. Alex Smith, calf strain, he doesn't play. Drew Brees, the Bucs made him play bad, sure, but Drew Brees had the worst post game of his career. So I would also anticipate that being a break. Against the Packers, if Matt LaFleur, who's a second-year head coach, in a little bit more wisdom, he gon' get a little bit more, how can you politically correctly say this? Confident. And on 4th and 8, he's not going to go ahead and kick a field goal. He'll probably go for it. I think the Bucs caught some breaks that you don't necessarily always catch, at least when you talk about Alex Smith, Taylor Heineke, Drew Brees' worst game ever. So that's one thing I'm thinking about. The other thing I'm thinking about is this. Eventually, big dog, the Seahawks got to make noise. Like, do they
eventually or they already made their noise.
That's possible.
And this is just the echo.
That's possible. But then you also think about the Rams. They knocking. With Matthew Stafford, if Matthew Stafford's the difference, they knocking.
Who's never won a playoff game? I mean, I'm not trying to be
I'm just saying they knocking. I'm saying they knocking. I'm saying you got to think about Aaron Rodgers. He bent. Hey, Let me in. Let me in the Super Bowl. He's been banging on the door.
Do you always answer the door when somebody at it? I don't.
Clearly you don't.
Hell no.
The fact of the matter is, are we really going to take the Buccaneers over the field again in the NFC next year? So is it Tom Brady's best chance? Yes, because he's there. But let's bring in somebody else who might have a slightly different opinion. NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So Bucky, talk to us, my guy. Is this Tom Brady's best chance at winning a 7th ring?
I mean, I don't know if this is his best chance because I think next year they could be even better. This kind of reminds me of the LA Lakers last year. Last year, the Lakers, they may not have been expected to win the title. They kind of won the title in the bubble, and we were like, wow, they won it. But this year, the team that they have is even better than that version. And what we now see is this is a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Before, when you saw Tom Brady in Tampa, you're like, is he really good enough to be able to get us to the promised land? Well, now that veterans have seen that Tom Brady can go to Tampa and he can take this team to the Super Bowl, now you're going to get everyone that wants to sign up.
Bingo.
And so when I talk about that Laker effect, really, it's the LeBron James effect. Now, because people know that he is the ring master, they know that if we go to Tampa, if we do the things that he is talking about doing, we absolutely can have a shot to win the title. I absolutely believe that the Buccaneers will be even better positioned to win the title next year than this year, and that's not to say that they can't win it on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bucky. That's what I was saying in the first lap that I had. Like, the names, whoever he had, AB, Gronk, whatever, they're going to get better next year. Continuity, knowing the system. And there's going to be competition because it's going to be an attractive destination for other people who have even more game left in them to go to Tampa Bay because, like you said, the ringmaster's in the building. But let's just also look at Tom Brady and how the quarterback position in year 2, how you can evolve and succeed versus year 1. Let's look at some of these examples. How about Peyton Manning when he went to the Broncos? Y'all remember year 2? Yeah, he just broke the NFL single-season record for passing yards, 5,477, and touchdowns, 55, and took the Broncos to the Super Bowl. Okay. What about Lamar Jackson in his year 2? Oh, you know what he did? Unanimous MVP and Baltimore #1 seed. Patrick Mahomes, year 1, barely played. Year 2, led the NFL in passing touchdowns with 55 and won the MVP. Jared Goff, year 1, suspect. Year 2 under McVay, 13-3 record, Super Bowl, and #2 offense in the league. I got another one. Let's go to Acho's heart, because I know Acho's sitting over here rolling his eyes right now. Carson Wentz, year 1, 7-9. Barely more touchdowns than interceptions, 16-14. Year 2, oh my God, 11-2. On track to potentially win the MVP. Year 2, and these guys, love all y'all. Tom Brady, the GOAT, in year 2, where he gets to know that system, really know the intricacies, dive into the details. I think it's going to be greater later.
But I'm not pushing back on that aspect.
Oh, okay.
But remember, all the players you said, year 2, they were also ascending towards their physical prime. Tom Brady is descending away from his physical prime. His mental acumen may be ascending, but his physical prime is in decline. I do think those two things balance each other out.
Okay.
I do think what Tom Brady loses in physical attributes next season, he will gain in the mental. But what you all are forgetting about this defense, people, y'all realize the only reason they're here because their defense has forced 7 turnovers in these 3 playoff games, right? You saw Tom Brady, 55% completion percentage game 1. 54% completion percentage game 2, 55% completion percentage game 3. So I would say that the only reason they're here is because their defense put up 4 turnovers against Drew Brees. That's what I would say. Now, let's look at that defense. Levante David, he about to be a free agent. Second on the team in tackles. Second in the NFL in tackles since he came into the league. We came into the league the same year. I've been retired a long time. So Levante David, 1,100 tackles. He's a free agent. Shaquille Barrett. That dude that had 19.5 sacks last year, led the league. 8 sacks this year, 27 over the last 2 years. Impending free agent. They already said tag yo at 1 year. What they about to do this time around. Ndamukong Suh. You know, just the guy that got his hand on the ball on the 2-point conversion, which is what actually put the Packers in a bind and eventually caused the Packers to lose that game. Impending free agent. Yes, AB may come back, although free agent. Gronk may come back. All these other pieces may come back, but y'all not going to sleep on the defense. We can't praise the defense 1 block, then neglect their existence the 2nd block. It's his best chance right here, right now, because you're there. Who knows what's about to happen next year? We don't know if other teams are going to start building and bringing forth dream teams.
See, Acho, I like that because you took me right to my point. When I talked about the LeBron James effect, You didn't let me mention who Anthony Davis was. That's the defense. The defense is Anthony Davis. They are the ones that are going to carry the load and do all the heavy lifting. Because as you see the Lakers now, AD can do all that stuff for 3 quarters, and LeBron James kind of pick and chooses when he comes in. That's what Tom Brady is going to do. As this defense, with all those young puppies in the back end, continue to get better. Yes, they need to re-sign Shaq Barrett. Yes, they need to keep Levante David around. They keep those guys around, and as they continue to grow, because Todd Bowles is going to be around, this defense is going to continue to ascend. That takes pressure off of Tom Brady. So rather than needing Tom Brady to be great for 16 games, maybe only 4 games does he need to play at a high level. And then in the playoffs, once he gets into the tournament, he knows how to get them to the dance. I am okay with Tom Brady having that defense as his sidekick.
Yeah, man, we just got to look at history, too, because we can just dive into this and we can sound like we're on different sides with this, but only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have won a Super Bowl in the first year with a team. Now, it's Nick Foles and Trent Dilfer, so obviously Tom Brady qualifies to be the third. But let's talk about the numbers and the fact that in the second season with the same team, 7 quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl. So it's just easier to do it your second year versus your first year. I'm not going to let that go, Acho. You try to sneak this in there a little bit. Talking about they caught some breaks. They caught some breaks. Well, LeBron caught some breaks, too, when he was with the Cavs and Draymond. I mean, every championship team catches some breaks. And, Bucky, you ain't slick either.
What breaks the Chiefs catch?
You ain't what?
What breaks the Chiefs catch?
Oh, boy, they had to play Jimmy G. Here's the thing. Let me stop. I love you, Jimmy GQ. The Lakers are not better this year. And if they are, then the Clippers are even better than them. Because the Clippers got a better record than the Lakers. So you come on the NBA block. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Win it. I can't believe it.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
I got to see playoff P do something in the playoffs.
Look, man, I'm over here selling hope. You selling uncertainty. I don't know what y'all talking about. Let's move on. Coming up, let's go to one of my homies, my dog, Rodney Harrison, who says it will be a terrible mistake by the Patriots to bring Cam Newton back. Shots. We'll tell you if we agree. Next, speak for yourself.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
When I saw what I saw with Cam, every time I saw Cam play, pretty much, I was hurt. Because I was a guy that believed in Cam. And when you see him drop back and he continues to throw the ball into the ground, throw it 5 feet or 5 yards above somebody else, you're like, what are you doing, Cam? Mm-hmm. You have to find a quarterback. And it would be a terrible mistake for Bill Belichick to bring Cam back, because Cam can't play football anymore. He just can't play quarterback in the National Football League.
Man, imagine that's your team, man. That's the realest dude in the world every day that way. But Acho, do you agree it would be a terrible mistake for the Patriots to bring back Cam? That's Rodney, for real.
I mean, Rodney was right. He ain't got to be so mean. But he was right. Like, he was honest.
Can you depart mean?
He could have been
right?
He could have been a little nicer.
Oh, okay.
He said, every time I watched Cam Newton play, I was hurt. Like, I was hurt. Like, he was physically hurt.
Oh,
God. It would be a terrible mistake. I hate saying this because I love Cam Newton.
You too.
It's hard for me to do.
Do it. Do your job.
It would be a terrible mistake for the Patriots to be back, Cam. Bring him back. The job of a head coach is to put your team in the best position to win. We criticize, we condemn head coaches whenever they don't put their team in best positions to win. What did we talk about? Defensive coordinator for the Jets after they give up that bomb to the Raiders and they lose the game.
Yeah.
He didn't put them in the best position to win. Greg Williams didn't. And so what happened to him? He got fired. What happened when Doug Peterson, he pulled Jalen Hurts? We weren't really mad because he pulled Jalen Hurts. I don't know Jalen Hurts. I mean, I know him, but like, he ain't put no money in my pocket.
Yeah.
So the issue at hand was Doug Peterson was not giving the Eagles the best chance to win. If Bill Belichick brings Cam Newton back, he is not giving the Patriots the best chance to win. I wanted to start big picture. Now I'm going to give y'all some numbers, but numbers hurt feelings.
Damn. You too.
Marcellus, Cam Newton had 9 games where he did not throw for a touchdown. He had 6 games where he did not throw for a touchdown. 9 games. 9 out of 15.
You're mean.
9 games where he didn't throw for a touchdown. He had 6 games where he did. There was a 30% greater chance that he wouldn't throw for a touchdown than he would. Marcellus, imagine if there was a greater chance a receiver would drop a ball and catch one. A running back would lose a yard than gain one.
Those are all his receivers.
A linebacker, Marcellus, would miss a tackle and make a tackle. You're a quarterback.
COVID opt-outs.
You get paid to throw touchdowns, big dog. And Cam, you not doing that. So it would be a terrible, grave mistake to bring back Cam Newton.
You know,
Hurt my heart.
Rodney's my dog. I mean, that is my guy. But I think it's a terrible idea to say it's a terrible mistake to bring back Cam Newton. I'm bringing him back if I'm Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is smarter than you, than Rodney, and me, all together, plus some in the game of football. Yeah, I said it. I'm scared I said it about Rodney, but I'll deal with that later. But being real, you guys want to talk about numbers. Let's start there because you know that's my fun spot, my fun place. 20 total touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Did Marcellus cook books? 20 total touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Doesn't sound... I didn't cook books. I just added up everything you're supposed to add.
Give me total turnovers. Give me total turnovers. If you're going to give me total turnovers.
All I did was my job. And now you're mad at me. You're mean. Let's talk about the fact that I remember day one of Peyton Manning. You remember the Brian Lee Peyton Manning controversy?
28 interceptions, Peyton's first year. Yes, Marcellus.
Yeah, he didn't say it like that. He said like 28 interceptions my first year. And he came back. And that was a 3-win season. Dog, we played them twice. They won 3 games and 28 interceptions, more than he threw for touchdowns, 26. And nobody batted an eye. Even our defensive coordinator's like, we better get him now because, boy, he's coming. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be a version of Peyton Manning year 2 for Cam Newton year 2 in the Patriots system. But I am saying this. What was their record again, Acho? 7-9. And as you like to say, they didn't catch any breaks. You talk about teams that do catch a break. We were talking about the Tampa Bay Bucs last block. Let's talk about the flip side of not catching any breaks. Let's talk about the Patriots in close games. The Patriots were in 4 one-possession games this season. They go their way. The Patriots were 11-5, but they weren't. I'm not going to go so hypothetical, but let's talk about those games. Let's talk about that Seahawks game when they got down to the 1-yard line on the final play of the game. Boy, stop, lost by 5. Let's talk about the Broncos game when they lost by 6 down to 25-yard line right there. Let's talk about the Bills, 13-yard line, 37 seconds to go, lose by 3. The Bills, what? Let's talk, that close. That's an AFC championship team. And let's talk about the Texans, 4th down, lost by 7. They are that close. That close. And even in regression, even in Bill Belichick looking like he lost his fastball, they are almost a 500 team with the most opt-outs in the NFL this year, 8 players, including Hightower, including Chung. Don't act like it was all scrubs. Their quarterback until July. Injuries, Julian Edelman misses 10 games. Sony Michel, Stephon Gilmore, Rex Burkhead, Damian Harris, and no weapons. They had a law firm out there who was dropping more passes than catching it. And look, Demir Byrd, Jacobian Myers, like, come on, bruh. Cam Newton is not the issue fully in New England. Dress it up. Look around. 20 total touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 11 turnovers, I should say, not 11 turnovers.
That's better.
Does that sound like somebody you should bring back? In my world, it does.
I'm so glad you said fully. Marcellus, the greatest coach of all time does not get excited to almost be 500. The greatest coach of all time does not sit here and say, we almost went 11-5, but we went 7-9. Let's talk about some of these games, because I'm not going to bore y'all with stats. I got some, but I'm not going there right now. That Buffalo Bills game, they lost by 3. Who fumbled to lose that game? Cam Newton.
The guy with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, that Cam Newton. The 49ers game, which they lost. Who threw those 3 interceptions and got benched in 3 quarters? Cam Newton. That Broncos game you referenced that they lost. Who had no touchdowns but 2 interceptions? Cam Newton. Marcellus, Cam Newton cost this team 4 games at minimum. I could count even more, but I'm trying to be polite.
Even more reason to bring him back.
If the job of a quarterback is to win, but I can look here and purely count Cam Newton, 2 interceptions against the Broncos, lost. Cam Newton, you fumbled against the Bills going in to go score either a field goal to tie it or a touchdown to win it, you lost. Cam Newton, you threw 3 interceptions against the 49ers team. That was taken out by injuries. You got benched and you lost Marcellus Wiley. It's simple.
Don't do this.
I love Cam, but you showed me the first day we got on the show, you said, Acho, this show is about facts over feelings. And now look at you, all up in your feelings.
You and your feelings.
Feel good.
Why you moving your shoulders like that? All them push-ups. You and your feelings talking about me. Oh, why you had to be so mean, Rodney? I don't care if Rodney mean or not. It's the facts. Here are the facts. Here are some positives that you didn't even take into account about Cam Newton, since you want to only focus in, as you are, an eternal pessimist. Let's talk about this. He started 15 games this season. Hercules. Who gives a damn? Oh, people who questioned, did he have the durability to finish the season after his injuries. He posted the second highest completion percentage of his career. Hercules. You know why that matters? Because people said he wasn't an accurate thrower of the football. He rushed for 12 touchdowns. Oh, most since his rookie season. You know why that matters? Because people keep saying he in decline athletically. Last time I checked, it's harder to run the football than it is to throw the football. He completed over 50% of his downfield passes. What happened to that arm strength conversation? Bye-bye. What about the fact that everyone's saying, oh, he's going to be 32 next season? I don't want him. Ryan Tannehill? Russell Wilson? Not the same level in terms of performance last year, but older than Cam Newton. So all this stuff you talking about, I got counters to why, if we're going to be on the fence, you say something pessimistic, negative, I say something optimistic and positive. If we're right here and this is a 7-9 bunch with 4 close ball games, bring them back and let's see if we can get over the hump.
The very first thing you said was Cam Newton started 15 games this year, correct? First thing you said. Cam Newton.
I know one thing about debates. Never give the credit to the opponent.
Of all the quarterbacks that started 15 games this season, Cam Newton ranks last in every statistical category of passing importance. He is last in passing yards per game. He is last in passing touchdowns. He is last in touchdown to interception ratio. He is last in passer rating. So if you want to tell me Cam Newton started 15 games this year and that is a bragging point of every quarterback that started 15 games this season, Cam Newton ranks dead last in every stat of importance.
Hey, did Carson Wentz start 15 games? You know what's so funny about that?
What's funny?
King of omission.
There is no
the quarterbacks who were so sorry they couldn't even finish 15 games are not in there. And that's the one.
That is my point.
That's my point.
Any quarterback that was worse got benched. Every quarterback that was worse than Cam got benched.
You know why? Because their teams were so sorry. His team wasn't that sorry. They 7-9, dog. You act like, you know what this is? This is 7-9 hate. And it's funny because there could be 7-9 hate. Instead of 11-5 potential love, you got 7-9 hate. Okay, let me look at a quarterback that I know you love and let's see how you're going to worm out of this. Baker Mayfield, first year. Did he go 15 games? No. Did he win 7 games? No.
Give Marcellus a life raft.
He went.
Somebody give Marcellus a life raft.
6 and 7. But last time I checked, I remember that offseason. I remember seeing Baker Mayfield that offseason. Love, flowers, roses, all the future, all of that kind of stuff. And now you want to go to a guy who basically has the same win percentage, if not greater, and now want to hate on him in his first year in the system when he just got there a month before the games even started. All right. Let me do what you always do. Let's not argue. Let's woosah. Is there not a scenario in your head that Cam Newton, in this system, year 2, with continuity, understanding it, could not take this team to be a winning ball club and potentially a playoff team? There's no scenario in your head. Or give me a percentage of what that could be.
I do. I'm not so crazy. I do think this team could win 9 games with their defensive players back. That's his greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick wins 78% of his games.
Not all the time.
So what is 9 and 7,
Not
big
all the
dog?
time.
Like, what is that?
Not all the time.
We got to put it in perspective. Cam Newton is feast and he is famine. The reason I love Cam Newton is because he's feast. Cam Newton, Cam Chancellor were my favorite players in the league for 5 years running. I love Cam and Cam. They some dogs. Stylish, they can do it on the field as well. But be real. Cam Newton has a 12-win season, an 11-win season, a 15-win season. He has 3 seasons of double-digit victories. But he got 4 seasons of 6 wins or less. 6-10, 5-8, 6-8, 6-8. He's more likely to win 6 or less than he is to win more than 10. So I love Cam Newton. You making me criticize my own
with friends like
that
you.
I love.
Who needs an enemy with a friend like you?
Because I'm honest.
No, you're not
honest.
No, right now you're slanted because you know how you feel because you're like, yo, he looks sorry, so now let me find sorry numbers for him. I think he looks okay to good, so I found some good numbers for him.
You can't believe this.
Yes, you know what? I'm gonna use you against you. You keep telling me Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time, can't do this on his resume. Bill Belichick has coached for 25 years, and 20 of those years, you're right. But 5 of those years, including 1 in New England, 2 in New England, that this is Belichick. This is actually Bill Belichick. 7-9 his first year. Acho would have got on the air and said, can't do it because you got 7-9 hate. Oh, but Bill Belichick did do it. And then he did it again, 7-9 again. Come on, big dog. And then you talking about his first year in New England? What was he, 5-11?
So you're blaming Belichick? Is that what
no,
we're
I'm
doing?
not blaming Belichick. All I'm saying is keep perspective, brother. People can grow. People can go. You said this about the Tampa Bay Bucs, week 1 against the Saints. You've done this all the time. You
My
did about
perspective
the Giants.
is this.
Come
Matt
on, dog.
Castle, 2008, Tom Brady is hurt. He even went 11-5. 2016, Tom Brady suspended. Between Jimmy G and Brissett, they start 3-1. Cam Newton is out here, they 7-9. So it doesn't add up. Even with backup quarterbacks in New England, Matt Castle
doesn't have
7th round
COVID
pick.
opt-outs.
Even with these cats,
Don't do that.
Brissett and Jimmy G, they still was winning games.
Matt Castle was in the system before July, too.
Here's what you need to be mindful of. Here's what we both need to be mindful of. Right now, there's an argument that Cam Newton is not the limiting reactant. Cam Newton is not the person keeping the Patriots from success. But what happens if Bill Belichick wises up? Gets them weapons. Then all of a sudden, we're really going to see in glaring fashion, dang, Cam Newton, you got all these dogs and you still struggled?
Or your number 1 receiver doesn't miss 10 games, and then the rest of those guys have not fully matured, and you actually have real weapons, and you still can run the football like you do, and you're still more accurate than ever. Then all of a sudden, this can click. I'm good at knowing which flowers need to be replanted. He needs to be replanted in this situation one more time, and then remove all doubt. Do you have reasonable doubt about it? It sounds like you do. Look at that face. We got a hung jury.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Tom Brady and the Bucs offense has been rolling heading into Super Bowl Sunday. Tampa leads the league, averaging over 34 points a game since losing to the Chiefs back in week 12. But on the defensive side, the Bucs have forced 7 turnovers with 7 sacks in the playoffs and will now have to face the one and only Patrick Mahomes. Bucky is back with us, but Marcellus, you up first. Who was more important this Sunday? Is it Tom Brady or the Bucs defense?
It's the Bucs defense. Defense! God, I miss football. Only for the game moments and that locker room curse-out periods. Let me just talk about why it's the defense. And I know a lot of people probably anticipate me saying Tom Brady because I love me some Tom Brady. But I also understand who Tom Brady is, and I understand how the Super Bowl can have an impact even on the greatest of quarterbacks. Acho, last time I checked, you fight fire with what? Water. Not fight fire with fire, because if you fight fire with fire, you might end up with more things burned. And that's a problem right here. This Bucs defense has 2 jobs. 1, we got to get Tom Brady the ball back. And 2, we got to slow down Patrick Mahomes. Because if you talk about Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, the only way that you can beat it is if you keep it on the sidelines. But how do you keep it on the sidelines? As we talked about before, you got to get first downs, which will obviously lend itself to time of possession in your favor. But if you want to go out there and dare, as I say, what a lot of people want to do with their ego involved, is try to fight fire with fire. Hey, we got Tom Brady, they got Patrick Mahomes. That's a wash. Let them just go out there and have a firefight. That's not how you beat these Kansas City Chiefs. I know a few firemen. Shout out to Bill Lenzen, my guy, basically my uncle. This is what you use to put out a fire. You use water. You use potassium bicarbonate. You use another fluorocarbon. All those things, but none of them on the list says fire. So don't get into a shootout with the Chiefs. I understand the motto. I understand the mantra. You can't go out there unless you risk it for the biscuit. But that won't work in this game. I need dink and dunk Tom Brady, and I need a defense that has the sack masters up front. JPP, Shaq Barrett, and the most pressures and most takeaways. That defense needs to win this game for the Bucs.
I like that take. Marcellus, so intelligent, and what I love about this show is the intelligence, because not only do we speak our own takes, but we quote some of the greatest minds this world has ever seen. So I'm going to lead my take off with a quote from one of the greatest minds I've ever heard. And the quote is very simple. I know I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though. Marshawn Lynch.
Oh.
See, Tom Brady is the most important, because we know that the Buccaneers, they gonna get got. But Tom Brady got to get his more than they get got, though. See, it doesn't matter what the Buccaneers go out there and do defensively. Okay, they'll slow down the Chiefs, hold them to 31 instead of 38, hold them to 29 instead of 35. It doesn't matter what that defense does. Because Tom Brady, he got to go blow for blow with Patrick Mahomes if you want to win. En route to the Chiefs winning their Super Bowl last year, what happened?
What happened?
Titans took a lead. Texans took a lead. Niners took a lead. The defenses did their job. Texans defense up 24-0. They're like, hey, we done our part. What's good? Tennessee Titans, they went up 17-7. Their defense like, yo, we did our part. What's good? And I know for sure, because I was there, the 49ers, at the point in which they held the Chiefs to 10 points through 3 quarters, they looking like, hey, we did our part. What's good? But what happened in all the matchups? The offense, you better keep your foot on the gas. If the Bucs defense does their part, which I've already said, I believe they can do in spurts, it's all up to Tom Brady. It is all up to Tom Brady. Why? Because the Bucs gonna get got. They gotta make sure they get theirs more than they get got. Though.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's a hell of a quote. But I understand where you're coming from, because Tom Brady certainly needs to do his job. The Buccaneers certainly need to play keep away and slow the game down. But this game is all on the backs of the defense. The defense has actually led the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl, has been the main catalyst for their success in the postseason, and they have to continue to spearhead the charge against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it's very, very simple what they have to do. One, they have to understand who the guys are. The ball is going to number 10 and number 87. It's going to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. In each of the past 2 postseason games, both of those guys have had over 100 receiving yards. You can't let them dominate the game. You got to limit the big plays. You got to tackle those guys in space. And you have to find a way to pressure Patrick Mahomes with only 4. The problem is the Buccaneers like to bring pressure. Their calling card is their ability to bring pressure with these zone blitzes. The last time they tried that strategy against them in the first game, we saw Tyreek Hill go beep, beep by Carlton Davis over and over and over again. And so somehow the Buccaneers have to keep the ball in front. They have to make them dink it and dunk it, and they have to win red zone defense. If they do those things, they have a chance. Tom Brady has to do their part. The offense has to do their part for sure, but the defense has to be up to the challenge. They have to find a way to slow down this offensive juggernaut.
Oh, man, I can hear Coach James right now. I told y'all about my track coach. Legendary, world-renowned. Don't get PO'd, Marcellus. Don't get psyched out. You don't have to play perfect against Patrick Mahomes to beat Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that have beat Patrick Mahomes in his career. We've seen 9 different quarterbacks beat Patrick Mahomes, and those quarterbacks did not all play amazing games. As a matter of fact, 4 of them had a rating under 90. I can give you some other boring stats, but basically, you don't have to be perfect to beat Patrick Mahomes. He can have an off day. Oh, I forgot. He had an off day last year in the Super Bowl by his numbers, a 78 passer rating. So let's talk about Tom Brady, and let's talk about the defense that he's going to be there with on Sunday. Tom Brady doesn't even have to be perfect for him to win. Don't forget, Tom Brady had 3 Super Bowl wins with a sub 100 passer rating going against top offenses. That's why this matters. Y'all remember when they beat the Rams? The Rams were the number 2 scoring offense in the NFL. How many points they had? 3. Okay. And Tom Brady went out there and still got the W. Well, let's talk about Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Even though they were down, that was the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. Another win for Tom Brady. You can go all the way back to his first one against Kurt Warner and the Rams, and the greatest show on turf. Number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. L. So it is about the defense. And this Bucs defense is number 1 in takeaways, number 1 points off turnovers, number 1 in interceptions, and number 1 in quarterback pressures. So they can influence Patrick Mahomes to have an off day. As Patrick Mahomes, so far in one performance in the Super Bowl, had an off day without even that same influence. So it's going to add up to something maybe different than a lot of people are anticipating. But make sure you don't get psyched out.
But let's make sure our words make sense. Fellas, people often ask me, hey, Acho, what kind of workout should I do? Hey, Acho, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? How can I get in shape? I say this, Sel.
Eat better.
The best workout you can do is the workout you will do. Right? So what's actually feasible here? Is it more possible and plausible for Tom Brady to play well or for this Bucs defense to play well? The more plausible thing is for Tom Brady to play well, because that's the easier gig. It's easier for Tom Brady with Gronkowski and Mike Evans and Godwin and hopefully AB. It's easier for him to play well. So let's not sit here and talk about, okay, yeah, the Bucs defense is more important than Tom Brady. The more plausible thing is one thing: Brady balling. Marcellus, when Brady is 10-1, the Bucs are 10-1 and Brady throws the ball for 275 yards or more. The Bucs are 1-4 when Tom Brady throws multiple interceptions. So what I know is this: the Buccaneers' success can at times be contingent upon Tom Brady. But the biggest thing, we can sit here and talk about the Bucs defense till we blue in the face. It's easier for Tom Brady to ball than it is for the Bucs defense to ball. So Tom Brady, the Bucs' only hope is for you to go ball.
Get him, Bucky.
Yeah, Acho, I understand it. And we keep bringing these NBA references into it. And then we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs being the Golden State Warriors of a few years ago. And what you want to do is you want to see if you can go up and down the court and out fast break the Golden State Warriors with inferior personnel. You cannot get into a shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs. If you want to put it in Tom Brady's hands, it has to be a game of keep away, meaning, Tom Brady, I want you to milk the play clock all the way down to under 5 seconds before each and every play. We want to shrink the game down to make a limited amount of total possessions. And then, only then can we get into the fourth quarter. And then you can be Tom Brady, the GOAT, who we've seen win these games in the fourth quarter. But if we think that Tom Brady is going to throw the ball 40-plus times and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be on the right side of the scoreboard, it's fool's gold. The only teams that have been able to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs have been the ones that have been able to slow the game down, control it, and somehow find a way to do it. You're not going to beat them in a 50-plus shootout. So I love Tom Brady and what he's been able to do, but this defense has to stand up. They can't let them get these big plays because those big plays, they're like fuel to the fire. And you cannot let them get ignited because they will run you out of your own stadium.
Man, I used to like Bucky Brooks, but he come up in this show over here blame gaming. You know what I'm saying? We keep bringing NBA references up. No, you keep bringing up NBA references, trying to take Slick Rick's job. Stop, thief. Let him wear priestly garbs, okay? Hey, Slick, watch your back, big dog. Talk about the Lakers are better. Now he brings up Golden State in here. It's on you, Bucky. We watching you, big dog. But let's talk about football once again. And Acho, it's actually more plausible that this defense balls out than Tom Brady balls out in terms of this team having success. Buccaneers defense allowed under 20 points a game in their 14 wins this year. Same Buccaneer defense in their 5 losses have allowed almost 30 points a game. So that's a huge difference in terms of where this game could land. Will it land in the 20s? Will it land in the 30s? If it lands in the 30s, even a blind man is going to say, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs won that game. So you got to have the control mechanisms in place. And thankfully, the Tampa Bay Bucs do in terms of their defense and defensive prowess. So as great as I think Tom Brady is, Patrick Mahomes and this offense, all they want to do is get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. And once they do that, all bets are off, man. So I think that they need to go out there and make sure they stifle Patrick Mahomes first and then allow Brady to be the great that he is, especially in that fourth quarter. Nobody? I
think you shut Bucky up.
Okay, good. Let's go ahead. All right, let's get out of this. It's time to make one of our picks for the Super 6 Super Bowl contest. That was awkward. Terry Bradshaw is giving away another $250,000 for the big game. Download the free Fox Super 6 app right now and play along with us. One of the questions is, How many completions will Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes combine for? Oh, they're friends right now. Acho, get us started. What do you think?
Mahomes going to give you 41. Tom Brady going to give you 35.
Don't add that
If
up.
I do that right, Marcel, what is that? 76? 76 completions. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes.
Got it right. All right, you got
Wow, man, that's a lot of numbers. Hey, they got to slow this down. I'm going to say it's 60 total. 60 total completions
60.
between the two. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to run the ball. They're going to drain the shot clock. They can't get to this track.
Okay, I'm going to go right between y'all and then add one. 69, that's what it's going to be. Download the Fox Super 6 app and make sure, hey, I'm saying that and that's it. Make your picks before kickoff Sunday for your chance to win. All you need to do is pick 6 outcomes in the Super Bowl. It's completely free to play. And for top story scores and more, go to the Fox Sports app. Coming up, Carson Wentz could be out in Philly. We'll tell you if another team should take a chance on him. Next, speak for yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to Philly, where Carson Wentz is coming off the worst year of his career. You hear that, Acho? He was at the bottom in several quarterback categories and was replaced by rookie Jalen Hurts for the Eagles' final 4 games. Now, Adam Schefter reports Wentz wants to leave the franchise, and the Eagles will, quote, absolutely listen to trade offers for fair value. Bucky is here, but Acho, would you take a chance on Carson Wentz?
No doubt about it. I think you have to take a chance on Carson Wentz. I'm betting on the 27-year-old quarterback that just a few years ago showed us MVP caliber potential. I'm betting on the quarterback who played the majority of the season without all of his top guys. Deshaun Jackson misses 11 games. Alshon Jeffrey misses 9. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, both tight ends miss 5. First-round pick Jalen Reagor misses 5. Star running back Miles Sanders misses 4. I'm looking at the big picture, and now I'm understanding why the painting did not look as we wanted it to, because there were other issues outside of the quarterback position. Let's talk about just how dysfunctional that Eagles organization was. And Carson Wentz is a byproduct of the dysfunction at large. You got a dude whose statue is outside the stadium for winning a Super Bowl just 3 years ago in Doug Peterson, and he's no longer there. Somebody got to make that make sense. You draft a second-round pick. Obviously, that's going to bring in some turmoil within the building. Should Carson Wentz have been mentally tougher in order to handle that and sustain it? Sure, you can argue that, but I think Carson Wentz still has something in the tank. I'm in my first lap like this. I'm going to go near and dear to Marcellus Wiley's heart. Marcellus, you were in Drew Brees' wedding, if I'm not mistaken. Drew Brees'
I went to his wedding.
Oh, not only did you went to it.
I went. I wasn't in it.
They weren't that cool. Yeah. Well, when I think about
Drew, a damn rookie.
I think about Carson Wentz and I think about Drew Brees and how the beginning of their careers are eerily similar. Their styles of play are not. Don't hear that, but look at this. Drew Brees was 30-28 his first 4 years as a starter. Carson Wentz 35-32-1. Winning percentage, eerily similar, 51%, 52%. Passing touchdowns, Drew Brees had 80, 53 interceptions. Carson Wentz 130, 50 interceptions. Touchdown percentage, Carson Wentz is at 4.5. Drew Brees at 4.4. Eerily similar. Completion percentage, Drew Brees 62.2. Carson Wentz 62.7. Again, disregard their styles of play, but understand, Drew Brees' first 4 years, he had an 11-win season. He had a 2-win season. He had an 8-win season. Carson Wentz's first 4 years, or first 5 years, he had a 3-win season. He had an 11-win season. He had a 7-win season. 9-win season. Very similar. Drew Brees, change of scenery. Now look at what he has done. Carson Wentz with the change of scenery, I imagine he could do great things as well. I'm not saying he's going to be a future Hall of Famer like Drew Brees is, but there is still greatness in store.
Still greatness in store. What are we talking about? We're talking about Carson Wentz and the greatness. So here's what I would say. I would only take the deal for Carson Wentz if they gave me a lifetime supply of tasty cakes and cheesesteaks, because otherwise I don't want him by himself, because the guy that I saw play last year was absolutely hot garbage, and I don't want it. And I just don't understand how we're hanging on this 2017, he played at the MVP level. But the last time I looked, there's no hardware on the mantle. I don't know if he really won the MVP. We keep giving him this mythical MVP back in 2017, but I haven't seen it. And more recently, I haven't seen a lot of good play. And so when we're talking about, I imagine that there's still stuff in there, and I imagine that there's greatness there. Well, I imagine that I still could be a part of New Edition, but I'm not. Like, I can't go with it. Like, the imagination is great, but at some point we need reality.
Hey, God, Bucky, you almost got me, man. But I'm with Acho, man. It's time to replant this flower somewhere else and see if it can blossom fully. One, I just believe in redemption, man. Look, Acho went poetic in terms of the circumstances in Philly. I don't agree with all of that. But I do know that as much as he sucked in Philly, they didn't suck all the talent out of him as well. So he can go to a different circumstance and potentially do something better. System support matters. Let's just be real about that. I played for multiple coaches in multiple systems, and they all got a different response out of me, in part, basically, just by philosophy alone. Maybe he goes somewhere, and there's a philosophy that he feels more comfortable in. Therefore, he performs better in that same situation. And look, let's not act like quarterbacks before didn't have suspect resumes and then all of a sudden change the scenery and whoa, is that the same dude? Rich Gannon pops to mind. Anybody had to play against a machine, Rich Gannon, I know I did when he was having those, 12, 10, 11 win seasons in Oakland. That dude was a machine. But let's not talk about Minnesota. Let's not talk about Kansas City. Before that, it was a little different story. Alex Smith, who went 19-31 in his first six NFL seasons. Y'all remember that? Then Colin Kaepernick in that situation. Then he goes elsewhere. He goes 19-5-1 in a 2-year span after that. So look, Ryan Tannehill comes to mind. Ryan Tannehill, receiver to quarterback, to having a moment in Miami to, nah, we good, trade him away. Look at him now. He has a team in Tennessee that believes in him, and he is showing up to answer it. There are other names here as well with a change of scenery. The point is, we plant the flower. Let's not just throw the baby out with the bathwater, because I still believe in the talent of Carson Wentz, but the performance, as you said last year, was hot garbage.
Yeah, the performance was bad, but I think I'm more worried about the intangible qualities. If he's going to be shook up by a second-round quarterback to come in and he can't focus, he can't function because Jalen Hurts is a backup, someone who wasn't really expected to play, but now he's so worried looking over his shoulder that he can't perform at a high level. Is he tough enough? Not physically, because I won't question his physical toughness, but mentally. Can he take the competitive nature that is necessary to excel in the position? I don't know. And then when it comes to the leadership ability, does he have the ability to rally the troops when the troops need to be rallied? Can he lead the group? We can talk about that locker room. We can talk about there were some guys championing him, but there were other guys who were riding with Jalen Hurts. So to me, when you bring him in, man, you have to put him in bubble wrap because he needs everything around him to be perfect. We've talked about the weapons that he needs. We talk about you can't bring another quarterback in the room because that makes him uncomfortable. That's a lot to ask in a new situation. Who wants to take on that project to have to construct all of these things for Carson Wentz? And even with that, do we know that he can play at a high level? Because we've never really seen it. We've never seen him excel in a playoff game. So I don't know. That's a lot to ask. I would rather do my shopping elsewhere than to try and take on somebody's else reclamation project.
But here's the thing, Bucky, you acting like this some sort of restoration hardware type situation when we out here trying to restore.
Hey,
no, it's not.
It is expensive like that.
That's the only similarities is the expense aspect. Bucky, you got to remember, Carson Wentz just the year before, just 2019-2020 season, he still went 9-7 with that same cast of characters. It was still Greg Ward out there. Like, he still went 9-7 with a group of unnamed and unsung heroes. Then this season, you come in, you under a lot of pressure, and that was what led to the demise. Furthermore, I don't get, like, are we just trying to give the Eagles a pass for testing your franchise quarterback mental toughness?
Ooh.
You got 16 games to get tested against other organizations. Why I got to get tested by my own organization? That's what training camp is for, coach. Like, I don't need to, okay, let's put Carson Wentz through the ringer Monday through Saturday just to put him through the ringer again on Sunday, just to bring him back and put him through the ringer again on Monday. That don't make no sense. We're not going to sit here and act like Tom Brady was Hercules clapping for Jimmy G when he got drafted. Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Jordan Love. You saw he started drinking. So I'm not going to act like Carson Wentz it did some sort of crazy, pathetic task because they brought in a second-round quarterback. It was done by the Eagles. Carson Wentz had to suffer the consequences.
Yeah, Bucky, damn. Go ahead, Bucky. I don't want to cut you off. I'll go after that. You got something.
I'm just trying to figure out, it's done by the Eagles to bring in another quarterback when your starting quarterback is off injured, particularly in big moments. I just don't understand this. Every time they get to go into the playoffs, they have to put another quarterback in. So if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I got to have one because I don't have Nick Foles available. I got to have someone that can carry us beyond the finish line because Carson Wentz hasn't shown that he's been able to do that. So I don't understand why he's so sensitive and in his feelings that we can't bring another guy into the room. I mean, to me, it's unbelievable that we're giving this guy a pass. At some point, he has to grow up, spit out the binky, drop the diapers, grow up, and let's be able to play this position like a big boy. I don't get it.
Bucky, you don't bite your nose to spite your face. Okay, you don't do that. You don't shave all your head off to spite your pit. Well, maybe you do.
Bucky, get him out.
The problem is,
get Rodney Harrison. That's him in the middle.
the problem is, Bucky, the Eagles are like, okay, wait. What's the decision here? We need to draft Jalen Hurts because Carson Wentz can't stay healthy, even though Carson Wentz started every game last year. Then Carson Wentz started every game for health reasons this year. Bucky, Carson Wentz has started health reasons. Carson Wentz has started 30 straight games as far as physical health. Stop talking to me about archaic deficiencies.
Save me some ribs.
He got hurt in 2018. It's 2021, big dog.
Look,
So wait a minute. He got knocked out of the playoff game last year when they were 9-7. And I didn't know if you're okay just being a little
Sound
bit
like you victim blaming.
Cool.
Going to the book.
He gets knocked out of that game. The year before that, when they go to the playoffs, they have to pinch hit and put Nick Foles in to carry them over the line in the Super Bowl. Look, it's not his fault, but he popped his ACL. Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl. So we keep talking about it, but in these pivotal moments, when you need your franchise quarterback to be available, he is unavailable. And so I just don't understand how long we're going to continue to do this. Like, we can take it. That's fine. Like, he's just not going to be available when you need him.
Yeah, I said save me some ribs. Y'all save me some bones. Ain't nothing left on this to eat. But let me find something. Bucky, boy, that Brooks family, boy, you hard on them. I hate to be a Brooks kid. You ain't got a second chance in this world if you're a Brooks kid. Let me talk about quarterbacks that had a bad year, and then they bounce back. You brought up Brett Favre in this situation. Y'all remember Brett Favre in 1999 when they went 8-8 and that dude threw more interceptions than touchdowns? What did he do the next 3 years? Go to the Pro Bowl 3 of the last 4 years. Let's talk about Eli Manning. Remember Eli Manning? NFL, 25 interceptions. He led the league in 2010. You know what he did in 2011? Won the Super Bowl. You can't bounce back in this NFL. Let's not act like that. The guy flatlined. Y'all used to watch like Emergency, all those little shows with paramedics, and they flatline. And you know what happens when you flatline? They say, rampart, cold blue. And doctors rush in there, and they start to try to resuscitate you. They don't just hear flatline, he good. That's how Bucky act as a doctor. He good, he gone. No, they try to revive you. So another team needs to try and revive Carson Wentz. We'll see if he will respond and come back to life. I'm going to take this home by going to my home. Nobody, and let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is why they're listening to trades, but also it has to be fair value. Because nobody wants to be the preparer partner. Y'all know about a preparer partner? How many times y'all heard this? Somebody you dated before and they said, all I did was get you ready for the next. And the next is going to be the one that you really appreciate. Oh, don't make me start thinking about my prep exes. I had some prep exes before. I know they hot right now. Oh, now he about his family with Anna Marie. Oh, now he love his kids. Oh, now he goes straight home. But when I was dating that dude, couldn't find me. I was in them streets. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. They like, dog, I ain't let this dude go somewhere and then all of a sudden clean himself up, dust himself off, and then be the MVP that we saw at one time. I get it, prep exes. I feel your pain. Coming up,
you were their pain. You were their pain.
Shut your trap.
What you mean you feel it?
Tom Brady had Peyton Manning. Well, I feel it now. We'll tell you if Patrick Mahomes needs a similar rivalry to enhance his legacy. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back. Patrick Mahomes is a few days away from his 8th career playoff game and his 2nd postseason matchup against Tom Brady. Now, Brady knows a thing or two about rivalries because he played against Peyton Manning 5 times in the playoffs. Brady talked about their rivalry yesterday, saying, quote, when you went against Peyton, a Peyton Manning-led team, you were going against essentially the other best team in the league. I like talking about these rivalries. They make people great. But Marcellus, does Patrick Mahomes need a rivalry like Brayton Manning to enhance his legacy?
Need is strong, highly desire, I would say, in terms of how it would crystallize for the fans, the viewers, the critics, that it will crystallize how great Patrick Mahomes is. Now, we already know he's great, but it's something about when it's a binary experience and the other is a great as well that makes you even greater. I have example after example. You could talk about Tom Brady, obviously, with Peyton Manning. And it's interesting in that rivalry, Peyton Manning comes in rookie year, heralded, loved. I mean, this dude was the man. And then Tom Brady in his ascension gets to beat someone who was deemed great. That makes Tom Brady look greater. Let's talk about other sports. I don't know if you're too young to know. You remember Dave and Dan? Remember those dudes, Dan and Dave? Okay, anyway, I thought you knew track. Decathletes. No one knows decathletes, right? They were a phenomenon. You know why? Because they know Reebok was like, look, ain't no way people gonna talk about decathletes unless we pit them against each other and make it a rivalry. And all of a sudden, while we're supposed to be focused on the 100 meters, 200 meters, all we kept seeing was these Dan and Dave commercials of this rivalry. Okay, let's bring it home. I know you know about golf. How about Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson? Okay. Now, Phil's supposed to be the most naturally gifted golfer in the world. I dispute that, but people say that. And then Tiger Woods steps on the scene, and going against another great golfer makes Tiger not only great, but greater. It's the same situation with this. Patrick Mahomes needs someone who's going to always step up to the mantle, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Josh Allen, someone always there to show us how much greater that Patrick Mahomes is.
I think you either need a rivalry, Patrick Mahomes does, or he needs dominance. But the kicker is he already got dominance. And because he has dominance, a rivalry is not imperative. I say it like this, Sal. I mean, think about the Bulls in the 90s. They had no rivals. What you want to say, the bad boy Pistons, 89, 90? But after the Bulls hit the 90s, wasn't nobody rivaling them. Think about LeBron James. Nobody rivals his greatness right now. We tried to make it Kevin Durant until KD had to leave to go join the best team of all time, statistically speaking, by the regular season. Like, nobody rivaled him. Think about Serena Williams. We talked about Maria Sharapova. We remember that. They tried to pit Maria Sharapova.
They said that.
They tried to forever.
I didn't say that.
She won 2 out of the first 3 against Serena. Then what happened? Serena won 19 straight.
Yeah.
Maria benefited from that rivalry because she needed that. Serena didn't need that because she was already dominant. So when you think about the dominant players, they don't need the rivalry. I think the lesser player probably needs the rivalry to enhance their esteem, to enhance their name, but the dominant player, they don't really need the rivalry at all.
You know what's interesting? This is an academic exercise. You're giving me good examples of those who are already great without a rival. But what if they had one? How much greater you would see them, you would perceive them if they had to mow through somebody that you thought was on their level and they kept doing it. I question the dominance when you're talking about, what was you saying, the Golden State
Warriors, KD, LeBron.
Well, Patrick Mahomes, I question his dominance to be on that level. Like, he potentially can be a one-time Super Bowl champion come this Monday. Is that dominant? Is that really dominant? No, it's not dominant. So let's be careful of how dominant he looks. And anybody could take a bump in that situation if you give them a true rival. So I'm looking at it like, Patrick Mahomes, if you go 1-1 in 2 Super Bowls and didn't even make the 3rd one because of Tom Brady, who beat you again in the postseason, in the Super Bowl, he's not even in this conversation being real.
But wouldn't you compare it to Jordan versus like Bird and Magic? Like, Bird and Magic's greatness was heightened because of that rivalry. Specifically Bird. But Jordan didn't need a rival because he was just so great.
It's like when people say, when you're a millionaire or a billionaire, how much money do you need? More. Like, it's like there's no limit to this thing right here. Like, people say that about Jeff Bezos. As he steps down, as he's a trillionaire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, dog. It's always another level. Coming up, the quarterback situation in New Orleans is up in the air. We'll tell you if Jameis Winston can take the torch from Drew Brees. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back. Drew Brees' possible retirement has put question marks on the Saints' future at quarterback. Sean Payton said yesterday he should have more info on Brees' decision next week, but his replacement could be Jameis Winston. Jameis can become a free agent next month, and Payton said the Saints would like to re-sign him, quote, sooner than later. So, Acho, can Jameis Winston take the torch from Drew Brees?
Hot. I think he can, but we have to properly assess what the torch is. The torch currently is getting the Saints to the playoffs and losing. Like, unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, whether it's the Vikings again, the Rams, the Bucs, it's getting the Saints to the playoffs and losing. And I think Jameis Winston is definitely capable of doing that, at least. We underestimate how much a great head coach does for a quarterback. Think about what Sean McVay did for Jared Goff. Remember, Jared Goff, 0-7 under Jeff Fisher, gets to Sean McVay. He goes to a Super Bowl just 2 years later. A great coach can make a quarterback succeed greatly, and I think Sean Payton can be that for Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston and Bruce Arians, terrible combination, because they both no risk it, no biscuit type of cats.
Boom.
But Sean Payton really isn't a no risk it, no biscuit kind of guy.
Right.
He's just a, hey, be very efficient, be very methodical, be very efficient, be very methodical. That'll counterbalance Jameis very well, assuming Jameis does, in fact, take that torch. So can he do it? Yes, because Drew Brees, after we look past the surefire Hall of Famer and the incredibly high completion percentage, over the last decade, he's gotten the Saints to the playoffs, kind of given them a shot, but actually been the limiting reason from their success. I think Jameis can get the Saints to the playoffs, and who knows what happens.
You know what? I'm going to say yes to this. And it's a little bit of guesswork because what did I see? One pass and one half of football this entire year from Jameis Winston. But he's been around a guru. He's been around Sean Payton. He's been around Drew Brees. Say what you want about his physical abilities right now, and the arm is shot, whatever you could say. Up here, still sharp as an act. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at Drew Brees in this situation. And being around there, the osmosis effect, I think that they believe in Jameis Winston because they even said for months that the quarterback for the future is in the building. And I don't think it's Taysom Hill. Let me tell you why I don't think it's Taysom Hill. Because it's Taysom Hill. No, if you really want to look at it, it's simple. Jameis Winston has the arm talent. Jameis Winston, as you just said, needed a better co-pilot. Like, the wrong co-pilot to have is somebody is as aggressive as you. And that was Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians like, hey, swing it, let's go. You're like, yo, wait, we have controls, we have to go this way. But I think that they both were a little too risky for each other. But like you said, methodical approach when it comes to Sean Payton. Now, I want to poke some holes in some things I heard as well, because I love you, Sean Payton, but I also know football. They said that they only played Jameis Winston for one half because, you know what? We promised Taysom Hill those opportunities. Last time I checked, every time we signed a contract, y'all promised to pay us for 5-6 years, but y'all don't honor that. So you know what it was? Like I said, I knew I was right. They wanted to keep Jameis Winston's projected value down. They didn't want the world to see Jameis Winston in his fullness and then say hit the free agent market and go get paid or drive the price up unnecessarily. So you know why I know that's true? Because also they say, you know what? We got Jameis Winston here, and we want to sign him sooner than later. Why sooner? We don't want him to hit free agency. A little hometown discount for the one that took care of you at the Harvard School of Quarterbacks. So be careful, Jameis. You got value out there. Hopefully you understand that. Coming up, Tom Brady is called the GOAT, but Uncle Jimmy has something to say about his legacy. That's next. Speak. Yes. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy is here. Tom Brady is trying to win a 7th ring. And I hear Uncle Jimmy has something to say about the GOAT's legacy. Go ahead, Unc.
Hey, Acho.
What up, Unc?
Let me ask you a question, bro. Do you know why the Bible tells you to be careful what you pray for?
Why, Unc? I don't think
because your ass just might get it.
That ain't in the Bible.
It is, too.
The new
see,
King
that's
Jimmy
what's
version.
going to happen to Tom Brady and his good heathenistic ass. See, Tom Brady's about to get everything he's been praying for.
What he been praying for?
See, he prayed to get away from Bill Belichick. He got it. He prayed to have a Super Bowl in his backyard. He got it. He prayed to play the best team in the football. He got it.
Got that?
But
dang, Tom Brady must have prayed for you. Shut
the hell up. Shut up and dribble. Hey, what just happened right there? Hey, no, you don't talk about God.
Can't talk about it. Well, first off, here's the problem.
What?
He quoted the Bible, but that's not in the Bible.
So that ain't a quote.
So exactly. So he's out here misquoting scripture, and God came down and just fixed something.
Struck you down. That's your third strike.
It
like
wasn't
you
no God quoting no scriptures, man. Y'all know what the hell. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Third strike.
Hey, man, look here. Tom Brady worried about his legacy.
That's between
you know
you
what?
And God.
Hey, Bruce Arians don't care nothing about Tom Brady's legacy.
You need to pray.
Okay? Bruce Arians worried about his legacy. Tom Brady gonna be the greatest quarterback ever to get benched in a Super Bowl. Mark my word.
Nope.
Now, cut me off again if you want to.
You need to heal, brother.
God about to come down and
Take
strike you.
advantage of this time when you got it. I know. I drop more knowledge in 12 seconds than y'all do all day.
To give some of this holy water.
You must not have been tithing. God don't like ugly.
That's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll pray for you all.